$4.48 for next year, down $14 from the previous forecasts. US crude oil futures for February dropped to a low of $36.94 a barrel, down $2.09 before recovering slightly. By 6:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the contract stood at $37.07 a barrel. London Brent dropped $2.05 to a low of $38.1 before rallying to $38.25 by 6:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as we're coming towards the end of the year, it's worth looking at the global markets for 2008. Well, the global markets saw record falls in 2008 as the financial turmoil and economic slowdown ended and stock market boom ended. I guess no one is surprised by that news. However, you may be surprised by some of the falls. Britain's FTSE 100 had its worst year on record, down 31.3%, with familiar falls in Paris and Frankfurt. Shanghai was one of the worst hit major markets, ending the year 65% lower, which was also a record loss. Justin Urquhart-Stewart at 7 Investment Management said any optimism was, and quote, on the basis that stock markets recover in recessions. Last year we were so optimistic that we were fooling ourselves. It's now gone too far the other way. We've discounted a huge amount of bad news, he said. The year saw the credit crisis push several major economies into recession, with banks particularly badly hit, many requiring government bailouts. At the close in London, the FTSE 100 index ended the year with a modest gain on its last day of trading today. It was up only 0.9% at 4,434 points. However, for the year as a whole, the index lost 31.3% of its value, the worst loss in its 24-year history. There were similar losses in Frankfurt and Paris, which is still trading. In Frankfurt, the DAX 30 ended 2008 down 40%, which was the index's second worst annual performance in its 20-year history. The index had risen 22% in 2007. I believe that we will have a lot of problems next year and much deeper prices than this year. But where we are, we will end the year absolutely no clue, Dirk Muller of MWB Fair Trading said. Shanghai's fall whipped nearly $3 trillion off share values. Shanghai soared more than 300%. It's a staggering 300% in 2006 and 2007. Japanese shares also suffered their biggest yearly decline, with the Nikkei dropping 42% as the world's second largest economy slid into recession. As a meltdown of the US housing market led to a global slump in consumer spending and industrial production, foreign firms withdrew investments from Asia to repay debts back home. In many cases, markets that had benefited most during the previous bull run were the worst affected as it ended. As demand in overseas markets slowed, Asia's export-driven economies were hard hit. In Hong Kong, which is in recession, the Hang Seng Index closed the year 48% lower. That was its second biggest drop to date, and its worst since the global oil shock of the early 1970s. India's main index in Mumbai has actually more than halved. In insurance news, if we again look at the summary of 2008 for catastrophes, Guy Carpenter & Company Limited, the leading global insurance risk and reinsurance specialist company, said today, as it published a 2008 catastrophe update, a briefing about catastrophe reinsurance marketplace. The briefing is also actually available on Guy Carpenter's website if you're interested in reading more about it. However, Guy Carpenter said the following. The high frequency and severity of Atlantic hurricanes in 2008, coupled with other weather-related and man-made losses, placed the year among the costliest on record for insured catastrophe losses. The record-setting Atlantic hurricane season, especially Ike and Gustav,